Hi there. I want you to imagine a kid named Alex, who, although he's full of energy and full of curiosity in the world, deals with challenges on the daily due to his weight. He goes to school and gets bullied for his weight and feels not comfortable in society because of it. Or the other side of it, where he is at serious risk for multiple health issues such as type 2 diabetes, asthma, and certain heart diseases. At first glance, a person will probably blame it on Alex and say that it's his fault that he's obese because it's his body and it's his choices that got him to where he's at. Well, I want to change that narrative today, and I want to change that impulse that made you think that about Alex. Today, I want to argue that childhood obesity is not the child's fault and more so to do with the environment and everything else around the child that makes childhood obesity the problem it is in America today. Childhood obesity is a massive problem across the country today, shown by this shown by this research done by the CDC in April 2024. In this research, they showed that from 2017 to March 2020, the spread of childhood obesity was 19.7% across kids from the age of 2 to 19 years old. To show how many kids this is, 19.7% is 14.7 million kids across the country who deal with childhood obesity. Now, to think what that means for each individual kids and what they have to go through on their day-to-day life makes this seem and show how big of a problem this really is. Also, research done by the CDC, but in December 2022, they show that while there are the physical problems that come with childhood obesity, like I talked earlier, type 2 diabetes, asthma, and heart diseases, there are many psychological effects that childhood obesity can have on a child. It can cause anxiety, depression, low self esteem, and other social problems for the kids, such as being bullied at school or having a stigma towards the weight, making the kids feel like they're not okay with how they look and that it's their fault. I personally can confirm these problems as I'm someone who's dealt with weight my entire life and grew up a heavier kid and was bullied for it, felt like it was all my fault, and didn't feel good enough about myself because I was a bigger person. So, what's really causing this if it's not the kid's fault? Well, in an article done by PMC in November 2020, they talk about how childhood obesity is a very complex trait and not based off one thing and is based off anything from genetics to environment. An article by Medline Plus in August 2024 said a very similar thing, saying it's not one thing that causes childhood obesity and more of everything and anything put together. It's caused by your lifestyles or your environments. But I want to talk about three specific causes that I think put a hole on what the problem is and how it's caused. Starting with genetics. Genetics can't be controlled. Genetics are given to you by your mom and your dad. And kids can't control that. There's no choice that the kid gets to make before he's born where I want this to be my mom and I want this to be my dad because of their genetics. There is no choice. And I don't think that it's talked about enough today on how out of control genetics are for kids. They don't have any control over it. Moving on is the environment that the kid is born into and lives and grows up in. There's a lot of families in the USA who are low income and don't have enough food to buy nutritional meals for their kids every day to nurture them and let them live healthy lifestyles through their eating. And on top of that, a lot of them don't get to live in very nice neighborhoods that have so many nice recreational places or parks where the kids can go and be active for their life. I think these together are two very big problems for childhood obesity. And third, just the state of society right now. I would say that there's a lot of advertising that pushes super unhealthy food, whether it's food you could buy in the store or food that you go buy out at fast food. There's so much push for advertising this unhealthy food, and it doesn't get pushed towards a lot of adults. Most of the advertising gets pushed towards kids, leaving them to be more appealed to having this food. These are a lot of causes that make up how big of a problem childhood obesity is right now and how it's not totally the kid's fault. So what do we do going forward? Well, In an article done by the CDC in November 2024, they say that you need to start the good habits right off the bat, and in daycare and childcare and preschool, to have healthy food options for the kids and for them to have lots of time and options for physical activity to let them live healthy lifestyles. And PMC did an article in 2024 that completely agrees with this and actually says to move this forward into school. Right now in California, every kid gets a free lunch at school, but in order to do that, the food that is given is not very healthy. And so a lot of kids who depend on this have 5 very unhealthy options a week that just isn't leading to a very healthy lifestyle. I think, and CDC and PMC would agree, is that we need to move forward into a way where schools are offering healthy foods and drinks for their kids and pushing physical activity. Let our kids in this country live a healthy lifestyle. I think we also need to have more knowledge on the topic, letting kids know that genetics are out of control, or that there is an importance to do this and why, so that you don't lead to getting depression, or you don't lead to having diabetes or asthma or heart diseases that can ruin your life. I think there needs to be a shift in focus on it's not the kid's fault and more of the environment that we're placing the kid within. And letting kids like Alex, who we talked about in the beginning of this speech, letting them thrive and live very healthy lifestyles. Childhood obesity is a very personal problem for me, and I hope that we can all take a step in the right direction to let kids like Alex have a great life going forward. Thank you.